It breaks my heart to see her like this.
Ooh, bacon.
Greetings, my tasty morsels. It's Reverse BLT here, and I'm about to get into the second chunk of Arcane, episodes 4, 5, and 6. That's what I'm planning on watching today. Yeah, getting back into it after episode 3, the last episode of the first part, just really hurt me. Like, hurt me so bad. It just took my heart and squeezed it and stomped on it and tore it to ribbons. And basically, our little family that we've been following down in the lanes was pretty much completely wiped out. Vander's dead, 2 of the kids are dead, and the sisters are split from one another. Powder just wanted to help, but unfortunately, she helped a little too hard last time, just a little too hard. Vi had a bit of an extreme reaction to Powder at that point, which is understandable. I want you all to know I don't hate Vi, okay? I was just very upset at the moment because as an older brother myself, as an actually, you know, the oldest in my in the generation I'm in my family, period. Cousins, my brothers, my sisters, everything. I'm the oldest of all of them, and there's a lot of baggage that goes along with being the oldest in a generation. You know, you feel a lot of responsibility for everyone, but it's not just in terms of being a good example and everything, it's also in terms of handling everyone's emotional development in a way. Everyone looks up to you. Everyone looks to you to help them understand not just their place in the world and how to function in the world or how to behave in the world, but also to understand that they're loved. You know, it's not just the parents, it's also the older sibling and cousin who helps shape that emotional core. Upset enough and angry enough that you allow it to taint the way you behave with your siblings or your cousins, and etc. You know, but I get it. I'm not, like I said, you know, I don't hate Vi. It's not like I don't understand where, you know, where that emotion came from. But seeing an older sister strike her younger sister, especially someone who seems to be in such need of that anchor as Powder. I mean, she's so pure and vulnerable, you know. It just really, it hit me pretty hard. It was just difficult to see. But anyway, I am mostly recovered, I think, from that experience. And so I'm ready to see where we go from here. Silco, who finally caught his name, has apparently taken Powder under his wing. And I earlier kind of wondered to myself if I had predicted the name she was going to go by when I said that they ought to call her Jinx, that she's always jinxing everything. So I'm going to guess we're getting a time skip, and she's probably going to be going by Jinx now. The side of the Undercity that still holds to Vander's way of doing things, and there will be a conflict. There'll be like a 3-sided conflict now, in a sense. There will be, you know, Piltover on one end, on the other end. So divided against itself, and of course, antagonistic on both sides to greater or lesser degrees to episode 4. It's called Happy Progress Day, and the synopsis is talking about Piltover getting the council to accept their new technology, the was it Hex Tech, and it is presumably and expectedly revolutionized everything. So let's just go ahead and get right into it and see how big of a time jump we've got and how fucked up things are. Oh, someone was saying that there's another series, I guess a companion series of some kind, that I should watch that gives backstory for beings such as the professor there.
You wanted to see me, Professor.
Ah, come in, Jace.
I'll look into that.
Stanwyck set his personal ambitions aside and focused on something he could accomplish could compare to the contributions of his students.
I had no idea.
That was his sacrifice.
How old is this guy?
But You always give that speech. I could never take your place.
Your hex gates have done wonders for our city, brought scholars from distant lands.
Portals. I'm guessing that's what a hex gate is.
I will do my best to make Piltover proud, Professor.
You certainly have something to live up to, my boy.
Am I supposed to more bustling? Well, I guess that is new. I don't think I remember this big ass building. That's cool. That's cool. Something else. I know. MST3K mantra. Oh, it is Imagine Dragons. Okay. For better or worse, this particular musical group has a definite musical signature. It's very, very noticeable.
Our most famous protege, Jace Tallis. The visionary behind the Hex Gates, a beacon of trade and prosperity for our great city of progress.
Excuse me. Sorry.
You were ready to throw him right under the entire bus last time. Tell you how quickly things change, right? I always call that the Rudolph Prince Enforcer.
Have me posted here.
Have fun hurting the drunkards.
Happy Drunkards Day!
Speaking of, that was a nice segue. Cut immediately to said drunkards. Alright, so when's the terrorist attack gonna happen? I want a hoverboard, damn it. That's interesting.
They're expanding. Check for more below. Burn it all.
Okay, so I'm gonna guess that these guys work for Vi. They're trying to disrupt Silco's operation. Uh-oh. That looks like something that Powder would set up.
Oh no. She's here.
I don't know how I feel about the idea of Powder becoming like a harp. So all those people are dead, right? Worse, converted. Okay. So she's just straight up murderer now. Yeah, I was wondering which one of them was Vi.
I can't lose you. Why did you lose me?
So I had noticed
Because you're a jinx!
that they had been kind of playing with a few hints that she might have
You're not ready.
mental illness issues in the previous episodes. Like, especially when they had her doing things like hitting her head and, you know, yelling in a really sort of animalistic way. Like she was having... Like she was on the verge of a psychotic break. I'm curious as to what they're trying to say the character is afflicted with. And she's even hitting her own people.
You are supposed to guard the cargo.
Are they trying to say that Vi is dead? Did I see that correctly, guys?
Professor, I'm so glad you could make it.
Love that
Wouldn't
little
miss
thing.
it for the world,
What
my
is it?
boy. What do we have on the docket?
How about fixing this poor guy's leg?
A Hextech gemstone.
I'm not going to yell at you too much for this, but one of you guys told me what those are. Like, what actually provides the magical power. I really wish you hadn't done that, because you should never assume that a show
Rockets.
will never explain something
We found
like
a
that,
means to fortify the crystals.
you know?
This
And
new version
it
is
would have been
stable
nice to have
and
had that
absolutely safe.
understanding come about organically. So just
present
think
to
about
you
these things in the future when
next
you
chapter
put in a
of
spoiler, okay?
We can now design portable devices.
Oh,
The Atlas gauntlets. The mining colonies in the fissures can work faster and without fatigue.
Yeah, but how's your
The Hex Club,
non-enhanced arm part
a
allowing you
mechanical
to do
arm
that?
equipped with a powerful ray of light.
A laser.
I want Hextech to be a tool for us to build a new world. And now, it's finally possible. Presentation.
What happened there?
what amazing, gentlemen. Obviously there, and it will be ready.
A decade.
Oh, don't worry, my boy. Keep at it, and I'm sure you will discover a way to safeguard Hextech against misuse.
Is that a magic camera? Did it just allow her to see something that wasn't actually there? Seemed like it did. So are they just really short-staffed, or is it common for the
I didn't do anything. She's
and
crazy.
in skirts?
Why does that not surprise me? Interfering in an investigation.
Ah,
again.
okay. So we didn't see a lot of the Undercity before, really, so it's hard for me to gauge whether it's changed a lot. I feel like I see more neon, and obviously the music, the tone of the music is suggesting changes. How rude! Just take somebody's drink?
She fired on us.
It was your job to make sure things went smoothly. The
Someone's
world's
got a
growing
soft spot.
smaller every day. What happened?
She already told you.
I'm asking you.
One of those firelight wackos was a girl. With pink hair.
Oh, so it wasn't actually Vi. Just looked like her, or reminded her of her.
Your sister's gone.
Sisters, right? Can't live with them, can't stuff them back in the old baby maker.
Aw.
Today's screw up will set
Poor
us
thing
back
went
weeks.
nuts.
I'm sorry.
I need to know that I can rely on you.
So he takes injections of a tiny amount of the stuff that
Savika
turns
will clean up
everybody
today's
into
mess.
monsters.
Savika? That ogre couldn't clean a dust bunny with a blowtorch.
She'll suffice. You should focus on your gadgetry.
The only one actually worth my time is him.
The golden boy.
Oh, he's one Piltover's heart.
Oh, speak of the devil.
So is she thinking of making a move on him, like romantically? Well, how, like, you can still see the council members' attitudes concerning him in their faces.
Can I borrow you for a minute?
Well, maybe she already has. And I'm sure she's operating as his patron or his primary patron now. But I wonder how much further it's gone than
Great
that.
scientist, but he's old. He only ever sees the past. Piltover needs a leader who looks forward. Someone like you.
It wasn't her.
Go on.
It wasn't. I know, just some wannabe street trash. I got confused, that's all. Savika will clean it up. Savika's a regular Johnny on the spot.
Oh my gosh, she made
I'm not weak.
she made figurines of the guys who died.
And I'm gonna show him.
Poor thing. Did I just see like a lion man or something down there? You can't just casually show me this stuff, man. I have so many questions.
I know many of you probably didn't expect to see me here today. And believe me, I'm just as shocked as you are.
What are you guys laughing at? That was a terrible joke.
My family and I are simple people.
I've never been able to do that. That little...
We're not done yet.
That little finger in your mouth whistle thing. How do people do that? But dude, if you're gonna do it, do it. Commit.
We
don't waver.
We'll share with you progress, and our future is bright.
Well, at least he salvaged it at the end there. Starting to lose the crowd. Fireworks displays make great opportunities for terrorists to attack. Any ideas? If any of you are terrorists, ignore what I just said. Fireworks make terrible opportunities for terrorist attacks. Yeah.
I thought that Talus boy was some kind of genius.
An airship.
It's weird to me to see peace officers in little mini skirts.
It's not a blimp.
It's not very practical, ain't it?
Sure as hell looks that way.
Fire! Fire!
No, put that out. You might end up with more fire. I know a fellow is stoned, but you never know where shit blows. Oh man, this better not be a first responder trap.
I'm a helpless little girl, and I set the building on fire by accident. Totally by accident.
Oh no.
Get out! Now!
Also,
well, that means you too.
Goodbye.
Oh, sweetie, what? This isn't the way.
For too long has the underground been left unchecked.
No, it's because you guys aren't sharing your prosperity with them.
Constituents, but they're still our people.
The Undercity cannot be controlled. Not by us.
So where does that leave us? I have come before you to recommend that we suspend...
You would sacrifice your life's work?
Without the hex gates, my goods cannot reach...
Real motivation for everything.
Councillors, it appears we are at an
The money
impasse.
must flow.
I propose that a new chair be brought forth.
What?
As a councillor, he will have the resources necessary to protect all our investments.
Councillor Murdarda, this is highly irregular. The council has held 7 seats for generations.
Does the boy have any
So that you can break ties.
Only that of a scientist.
What are you
like
playing at?
Heimerdinger.
I second the motion.
Well then, shall we vote?
Do you have any idea what you've done?
Actually.
Okay, so he wasn't the mad dog I thought he was. So there is some weird sort of sexual energy between them, right? That's not just me.
If I can just work this out, Marcus will have to listen.
Yeah, there's one thing I've learned about the council. They need more than just theories.
Since when did you concern yourself with the council's opinion?
Well, they just put him on it, so...
Since I became a counselor.
You're serious?
I was actually hoping you might consider joining my staff.
I don't need charity, counsellor. Yours or my parents.
Kate.
Get out.
What was it I was talking about? The difference between pride and respect in the comments for the previous video? She's letting pride fuck with her right now. What is
I need
this
to speak
place?
with one of the inmates.
Oh, the large person.
Incident?
What kind of incident?
The... well, not so pretty kind.
Ooh.
Who assaulted him?
Someone who wanted to make sure he kept that jaw shut. Oh, okay. So she was on the ship and she did survive. Man, my girls are all grown up.
Who the hell are you?
Or maybe she wasn't on the ship, but she's been in prison for a while. I don't know. I'm trying to have no idea what's going on right now in terms of where people have been necessarily. Because I'm still a little unclear as to whether the person on the ship that, you know, made, I guess I'm just gonna have to get used to calling her Jinx, that made her lose her shit for a little bit there. I'm still not sure whether that was Vi or just someone who reminded her of Vi. And if it was someone who just reminded her of her, then I guess the implication is that Vi's been sitting here in this prison for a while. Who knows how long. I guess we'll get the answer to that in the next episode. It really, really broke my heart, you guys, to see how Jinx's mental state has degenerated over time. Kudos to the show again, though. They did a lot of really good showing, not telling on that. Like, the dolls especially, or I guess mannequins, were especially a nice touch of the boys that died. At least I assume it was both of them. I only really for sure saw the one that I always kept calling Vegeta. They were, was it Milo and Milo was the one that looked like Vegeta, right? Yeah. And the big guy whose name I'm completely blanking on right now. But yeah, it was interesting to see that Silco has a complete soft spot for, at the very least, quasi-romantic things, and maybe hasn't like actually become a full-blown thing, and it's just sort of like something that kind of underlies the it's kind of hard to tell sometimes with that sort of thing. But it was very interesting to see that he is not as insane as I thought he was. He he does actually seem to have a sense of restraint. Seems like he actually thinks about whether or not something will really achieve something, rather than just wanting to go off and deceived him before. And I'm curious as to whether or not it was the fact that he was now responsible for Powder that made him reconsider. Just like it was seeing the two girls having lost their parents, that I have to thank one of you guys for clearing that up for me. I did not realize that it was that Vander and Silco were essentially flipped before, and that it was Vander who wanted to burn Topside to the ground and Silco who was against it, and that's what their fight was over. That's fascinating. A little bit of I don't consider that really a spoiler, because I do think that when I looked back on the storytelling that had happened before that point, especially the visual storytelling of the scenes that were being intercut in the previous episode of them fighting each other, I do think that it was essentially telling us that, that he originally, and also, you think all the way back to the first episode with the Rampage on the bridge, they were telling us that Vander was the more militant one in the past, and that it was being responsible for these girls that changed him and made that's a hard decision to make, or really, actually, I'm not even sure how much of it was freedom, because it does seem like Topside, they didn't share any of their prosperity with them. That was clear. And to have to give up the right to be, given a fair shake as part of the bargain to have a world that is stable enough for you to raise your kids, that's a tough call. I have to say, Vander is a very strong man to be able to handle something like that, but yeah, this is interesting beginning for this new chapter of the show, and I'm still also trying to figure out what the dark-skinned counselor is trying to pull right now by elevating Jace to the council. He's playing at something, and I just don't know what yet. And what on earth is Jinx going to do with all that Hex Tech stuff that she stole? Anyway, guys, let me know what you thought of this episode. Feel free to have discussions, as always, in the comments. Just make sure please to use spoiler warning, spoiler space, so that you don't spoil me and you don't spoil your fellow viewers who may not be as far along as you are. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to say thank you very much for taking the effort to do that. Anyway, do me a favor, as always, make sure that you promise me, do your best, to stay safe and be well. And I will see you for the next one. Bye-bye. I'm about to watch it right now, actually.
Goodbye!